Welcome to my fight show, Mika Frankl. Let's have some fun tonight. We got a lot going on and a big guest list. We're going to be joined by O'Ruin Guhrke from Borg MMA and Fitness, amateur MMA fighter, second amateur fight happening next weekend, Fight World 45 at the Revel Entertainment Center this past weekend. Kartel Clash 3. Alex Solis is going to be here to talk about it. And he also has a new innovation, a new idea. We could have some wrestling on our hands locally. Alex Solis is going to be here to talk about it. And in the main event, the BKFC returns to Sturgis this weekend. A wild scene, a wild setting, and a wild man is here to tell us his bare knuckle path. We have the Knuckle Maniac, top 5 ranked light heavyweight Cody Vidal, our main event guest tonight. So 3 guests to get to. We got local talk, we got national talk, we've got global talk about the combat sports and entertainment world. This past Friday night, Duke City Championship Wrestling, NWA New Mexico, the territory trials, cageminds.com with your coverage. And an incredible night where Hobo Hank overcomes 8 men and will be going on to represent our amazing brand August 15th, Troy, Missouri. It is the NWA 2026 showcase. Hobo Hank will be representing Albuquerque, New Mexico, as he always does. We have a new women's enchanted champion. Alora Jet dethrones the reign of Zamaya over 400 days, has come to an end. My fight show, it's not possible without the help of a lot of great people, including Barbara Gabe from Barbara Gabe's Fades. Barbara Gabe is going to be in action. APFC 25, August 30th, but you go see him way sooner than that to get your look upgraded, tightened up, or whatever you need. Barbara Gabe's Fades at 100 Coors Boulevard, Northwest Los Lobo Plaza in Suite 107. They got barbers, they've got stylists, you can get your braids done. It's all available there. I know it because we even get the wonderful Barbers R Us beard balm from Barbara Gabe's Fades. It's right there. Having the beard all in check, looking good for a whole night of conversating about combat sports. Get yours and keep the look on lock with Barbara Gabe at Barbara Gabe Fades. You find them at barbaragabefades.net to book your appointment. Walk-ins are always welcome. And heck, don't forget, we enhance our media. We get awesome photos thanks to Robbie Ray Images. A shout out, though, to this past weekend. The Romero Show is how you find him on Instagram. Franklin Romero did his thing covering legacy boxing promotions. New Mexico, more championship bouts coming back from the boxing genre. Josh Pitbull Torres, Christian Cabral get their UBO titles. Josh Torres with a last-minute opponent change, had to make a little bit of adjustment, had to overcome, had an awkward stylistic fighter in front of him with a bunch of looping punches, but the Pitbull picks up the much-needed win and a new trinket to add to his case. Christian Cabral got sat down, got knocked down, touched the ground, had to get back up, prove the heart and the mettle, the determination, and as a veteran does, he took over in the back half of the fight. UBO titles, 2 of them here now in New Mexico. We got Clinton Chavez. The momentum is rolling. The entire Ruben Carrigo team that trains at United Fit looking sharp in the boxing ring, putting together some victories. A 4-0 night at Legacy Boxing. Summer Heat, the legacy continues. Boxing continues this weekend. We're going to have a little bit more on that with Alex Solis, as Donald Sanchez Promotions has a huge card coming up. We talked to Caleb Medina, talented amateur prospect, making his professional debut. Excited to see that one. Wedo Shotgun Villarreal is going to be making his 3rd entrance into the professional ranks. A huge expectations on what he can do. And then you also have the veteran women in the main event where Liana Martinez takes on Amanda Lovato. That one, most likely gritty, grindy, going to be a war for all the rounds and is going to be your fight of the night contest, back-to-back weekends of boxing at Embassy Suites. Kind of what's going on local. We're going to catch up with Alex Solis and get his opinion on a whole bunch of that coming up with this weekend. We had the first women's Power Slap champion crowned last Thursday as Power Slap followed the UFC to Belgrade, Serbia, and in the main event, quite a stunning upset as Sheena Bathory, heavy favorite, huge knockout artist, goes the distance. First time cutting down to 135. My sources say that had a lot to do with a lack of form, a lack of power. Maybe there was a lack of desire because of incentives coming with a boxing career. But Abby Brave Montez, the only woman to defeat Clarissa Shields in a professional combat sports setting, picks up a stunning victory and is your first Power Slap women's featherweight champion, getting it done by unanimous decision. The heavyweight title was on the line in a rematch, and Dabian Dribble takes down Dorian Perez by majority decision. Perez was deducted a point for a clubbing foul, and that changes the fight from what was going to be a majority draw. Man, we could have got a trilogy out of this because it would have been 0, or it would have been 1-0-1, and instead we end up with the decision going the way of Dibble, and Dibble dominantly now reigning over the heavyweight division. I don't know what's next for him. Super heavyweight division, one of the more dramatic knockouts on the card. Dumpling back to form, back to being the guy that grabbed Dana White's attention, knocked out David Zawoski in the second round, and the night started off the main card with Darren Godfrey absolutely obliterating Denara Tatarov in the second round. A just vicious, hand-clenching kind of knockout. You saw the brain damage and the CTE all come together as Power Slap 22 took place from Belgrade. Next time you'll see Power Slap is going to be in September, and they will be in the home of Texas Tech, so heading out to Lubbock, Texas. Friday night, you had the PFL, and the PFL with the biggest news that they have had in forever, a PFL MVP merger that leads to Jake Paul and Nikisa being there at PFL New York. Essentially, John Martin, who had just been given the keys to the PFL, has now handed them right over to Jake Paul. And Jake Paul, who has been a great self-promoter and has done big numbers self-promoting his own boxing fights, did a really good number with known MMA entities in his first foray into MMA with the Rousey versus Carano fight. Now has the challenge of showing his promotional muscle. It really all depends how you feel about this news, on how you feel Amanda Serrano has benefited from the Jake Paul affiliation. If you feel that her alliance and women's boxing has been bettered by the efforts of MVP, I think you could see a bright side and a hope for potential growth from the PFL. If you don't think they've done a great job with it, I'm not sure if you're excited about this move or it's just not going to register and go below your combat sports appetite. But the PFL this weekend, I didn't expect for that to fully be the biggest news. But when Usman Nurmagomedov shows incredible striking, dictates the pace, controls the distance, shows a bunch of teep kicks, and then is able to bring that teep kick over the top for a question mark kick to obliterate Archie Colgan, a 13-0 challenger, Usman Nurmagomedov is the real deal. The PFL has an incredibly skilled lightweight champion who just fought his last fight under contract, and I can't imagine that there isn't some kind of negotiation already in place with the UFC. Dana White was very keen on watching this one. I don't think he watches a lot of PFL events. Usman Nurmagomedov, I believe, is heading to the is heading from the PFL to the UFC. You have to replace the stars that you have. They are few and far between. Dakota Ditcheva, who is another huge face of the promotion, definitely the face of the women's section of the PFL. A 30-27 dominant, but somewhat coasting, not violent, not aggressive victory over Denise Kielholtz. It felt like the biggest star that the PFL had was Jake Paul on their hands Friday night. Maybe he's able to help build people, but the PFL success has been dictated on him being a fighter, not a promoter. We've seen him with the PFL before. Does the MVPFL now look any different? Are we able to generate a real star? Usman Nurmagomedov, though, looked like a freaking superstar in what I believe is going to be the last time that we see him in the PFL. I believe he's UFC bound to really test himself. It also feels that way because unbeaten 11-0 Amor Magomedov just stormed Angel Alvarez. Alvarez 11-2 heading in, leaves with his third loss, 80 leg kicks. Magomedov, a Nurmagomedov pupil, looks like the next incumbent lightweight champion. So maybe this baton passing that we've seen from Khabib to Islam that's expected to now include Usman is also going to include Amru in the lineage. It looked like he has the goods and could be a very dominant fixture in the PFL. We also had Mustafa Diakate with a destructive first-round TKO over Darrell Walker. Swept the leg out, once on top, absolute brutal ground and pound. And any light heavyweight prospect that's generating finishes and generating violence really is noteworthy at this point in time from a light heavyweight division that we're still figuring what's really next for light heavyweights. Is the PFL going to bring back Corey Anderson? Is there a real necessity to do so? The summer of action from the PFL is continuing this week as the PFL heads to Charlotte. Big time event for the middleweight division. Love the PFL middleweight division. Probably their deepest, probably what I would call their most competitive division. We have the PFL in Charlotte this weekend. Bryan Battle, yes, tough winner, taking on Dalton Rosa. These two have no love lost. True animosity, truly having to be separated at press conferences. My favorite fight from last weekend that didn't happen gets moved over here. We get Davladorch, Yakshamir Muradov taking on Simeon Powell. That one intriguing, again, with real prospects, where Mustafa is a building one. Two real contenders in the PFL light heavyweight division. And if that ain't enough for the middleweight madness, you get Josh Silveria versus Aaron Jeffrey and Josh Frem versus John Gregory. Battle versus Rosta, the main event. Two talented middleweights looking to really establish themselves in the picture. Battle the hometown fighters. So this is a spotlight. This is a big opportunity for a promotion like the PFL to give you. We saw that Rosta got the spotlight in Pittsburgh. Didn't work out for him. Heck, Battle walks in against Evelyn. That doesn't work out for him. But now it's a huge opportunity. One can play homecoming spoiler, and the other one can get all that love and adoration and build back up his local fan base. Battle, excellent length and striking. We saw his wrestling be a big key to him earlier. Don't know if that's going to be stifled against an elite wrestler like Rosa. He delivers offense with huge kicks, knees, and sharp punches. A dangerous submission game, and he will jump on it. Strong cardio and ability to increase late. You're not going to see Bryan Battle gassing out on you. Rosa, the excellent wrestler, the top control, a physical presence, a strong, physically ripped, cut figure who can put pressure in the clinch, but does remain a work in process when we're talking about his striking and a lack of defense. He can struggle to keep a pace. If this is a striking battle, you would expect this to be Bryan Battle. Stuff takedowns, maintain distance, and keep this a kickboxing match. Rosta, no surprise. Close the distance. Secure the takedowns. Make Battle work from underneath you. Cardio is going to be key here, and who can dictate the pace. With Yakshamir Muradov versus Simeon Powell, a fight that I've been really, really intrigued by, if you haven't been keeping up with this one, the veteran versus the oncoming prospect who looks to score the biggest victory of his career and quite possibly have that Corey Anderson call out, put himself in a position to fight for a title. You got Yang Shamir Muradov, who they call Yags, belovedly within the PFL, massive one-punch knockout power, can be a aggressive finisher, has that wrestling in his back pocket coming from that side of the world, but isn't a wrestling first kind of fighter. He's experienced in high-level competition, and he's dangerous everywhere the fight goes. But he can be overly aggressive and leave openings. Has shown late in rounds he can kind of slow and wants to rely more on his power than bringing in volume. Pal is athletic, has the better footwork, being the lighter, more crisp, more technical striker. I think he has a very solid fight IQ for a young guy who puts together good punches and has effective counter punching. The experience and the fact that he might be able to be bullied in the clinch is also a detriment. Yakshamir Muradov has only failed against the most elite of the division. This would be a statement and staple victory on the resume of Pal if he's able to get it. But I wouldn't be surprised here if it's Yakshamir Muradov, the veteranship and being able to know how to win rounds, that gets this one over. But if you're the PFL, you are really hoping to see something special out of Simeon Pal from a promotional standpoint so that you're able to really manifest a reason why we need to see Pal versus Corey Anderson. I'm not sure if we are bringing back Corey Anderson just for a rematch with Yags. Again, a huge night for the middleweights. Josh Lavario versus Aaron Jeffrey. This one might be one of the best technical battles on the entire card. Lavario, relentless pressure, a huge wrestling background coming out of Arizona State. Well, Jeffrey's probably underrated. We've seen him in the CFFC, LFA, had a quick cup of coffee in the UFC that did not go the way that he was hoping to. So it's high-level wrestling pedigree with an excellent pace and constant pressure. A guy that was a undersized light heavyweight, but successful in that division, who is now an established middleweight, taking on a Canadian who is positionally strong, has excellent takedown defense, and is probably more fundamentally the better striker in this equation, the Canadian versus the Floridian. The weakness for Jeffrey is going to be if he is stifled and stuck on the bottom. It's going to be a tight, hard, relentless pace fight, and I think that the takedowns are going to make the most difference. If Silveria can find himself on top, he finds his way to victory. Josh Fram, coming off of a huge debut win in the PFL, then went to BKFC, impressed then there, and said he'll be back after he does this PFL thing, but he definitely liked what he felt in the bare knuckle realm. They both need wins. Frem has consistently faced the higher level competition, but hasn't got all the results that he's always hoping for. A tall, lengthy fighter who's good with range management, solid fundamentals in the boxing, a very dangerous guillotine. While on the other side, Johnny Gregory is an explosive athlete, an aggressive finisher, has heavy punching power. I kind of like the experience, the battle-testedness of a Josh Fram who's been there and done that. The PFL, the summer of PFL, and the summer of fights continues this weekend with the PFL in Charlotte. You watch it through the ESPN app, the new ESPN app, and again, a pivotal one for the deepest division as we look to that Costello Van Steves, Johnny Eblen rematch. Who could be next in line for either one of those gentlemen? Looking like we're getting to that time. We got our first guest of the evening actually already in the studio. He's in the back. We're going to make sure that he's ready to go, and we will be back in just a second. We're going to have our first guest of the evening, amateur MMA fighter, going to be in action at Fight World 45. This is My Fight Show with Mika Frankl. We will be back in just, I think, a quick second. Yeah. Welcome back to my fight show. Mika Frankl here. Fight World 45 next weekend. We get live local MMA at the Revel Entertainment Center. We've had a couple guests on already talk about the show. Josh Montoya about his return, Ray Viza from the pro side, and then Angel Gallegos, who's going to be fighting for an amateur title. Now we're going to go in a little bit different direction with a young man whose amateur journey just getting underway, really. He is training currently with our good friend Ray Borg MMA and Fitness. He's O'Ruin Guhrke. Let's welcome him to my fight show now. How you doing, sir?
Great, man. Thank you for the introduction. That was solid. Thank you.
Oh, appreciate that. Thank you. And like the t-shirt.
Thanks, man. I've got to rep the board. Let's get it.
Borg MMA and Fitness. And I know for you, athletics goes back a lot further. If we look at the social media, we can see you're an athletic guy. If we can look at the background, I was going to say there feels like two things I already know about you from the social media. It's hunting and football.
Absolutely. As you can tell, got the nice wall mounts going on in the background. But yes, sir, absolutely. I've been doing athletics my entire life. So, it's been a great, growing up with athletics. And then, as I continue to pursue this MMA career, it's just been positive. So it's good stuff.
When did you say you became an athlete?
I don't want to be cocky and say the moment I was born, but not too far along after that. I've always been really good at throwing things. From a young age, throwing rocks at the water with my pops, or just trying to pick off cans here and there. But I would definitely say that throughout my middle school to high school years, I progressed heavily in football, and then going into my junior and senior year, I love football and stuff, but it wasn't working out too great at that point. So I transitioned over to throwing the javelin. And I had some scholarship opportunities in Colorado, Alamosa, Adams State. Shout out the Grizzlies. To throw the javelin out there, and then COVID and stuff hit. And then I had some things back home that were kind of going astray. So I came back home, and then, athletics at that point kind of took a back burner. And then, I just focused on my education for a little while.
What athletic? Was it football? Would you call that one the first love?
That was absolutely my first love. It was definitely a love and passion. I always loved the thought of playing underneath Friday night lights. But football is a rough and tough sport. Unfortunately, I haven't, gotten any less rough and tough. I definitely say MMA is quite a bit, more intense than football. But that was definitely my first love. And then throwing the javelin was, something that came pretty easily until, stepping into the college world. There's some big dogs out there throwing the jab. So.
What was your position when we're talking about playing on the field, when we're talking about football?
It's funny. I was just talking to my coach about this the other day. I played everywhere. Starting out from my freshman year, I was kind of just a wide receiver. And then our one of my buddies, Treston Schallenberger, he was our quarterback. He got hurt, and then they pulled me in the quarterback position. I played quarterback towards the end of my freshman year, sophomore year, and going into my junior year. And then in the off season, I put on, 15, 20 pounds of just straight getting yoinked. Shout out Cleveland High School for that. And then they moved me over to outside linebacker and tight end. And then that's where I finished my senior year, was outside linebacker and tight end.
How do you go from football field, random positions? Was it when you're given the opportunity to play quarterback that the javelin comes up? Because it feels like I'm not getting the connection, how you're like, let me pick up this big stick and throw it at the ground, where you're already tackling people towards the ground or looking to not get tackled.
Yeah, so I would definitely say, just with this little bit of time I've spent with you, that one thing about me is that I'm not normal with that kind of stuff. Things usually come up, challenges arise, and I'm always looking to kind of, conquer something big. And with that being said, I would say there was minimal, things that helped me from football to javelin, but the coolest thing was always thinking about, hunting back in the day, prehistoric times, or, however you want to look at it. You're quite literally throwing a spear, to provide for your family. And that was something that I was like, you know what? Throwing a javelin is pretty cool. Not many people I know do it. And I loved it. So, yeah.
What did it mean to you that taking up this sport was able to provide so much that it gives you the opportunity for college?
Yeah. So with javelin, it was just one of those things where like we already talked about, my focus on things was football. It was football, 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 24/7, 365. We were having 2 days during the summer. We had off season, lifting and just staying strong. But unfortunately, I had a pretty severe injury that, kind of made me rethink things. I always have had a drive to be great at something. And with the javelin and with it becoming, kind of just second nature to just pick something up and run full speed and throw it as far as I possibly could, that was easy. That was like a no brainer for me. So whenever the doors started to open up at the collegiate level, I was, of course, kind of just gnawing at the bit to get my name out there and try something new. And, with Adams State giving me an opportunity, I tried it. I actually never got to throw the javelin in college just because I ended up blowing up my elbow. I took too much pre-workout one time before a meet, and I was just ready to go. Threw technique out the window, which you're not supposed to do, and ended up tearing my I forget it's the Tommy John surgery that baseball players get. I ended up tearing that. So that prevented me from, pursuing that any further.
When does mixed martial arts start to become a possibility for you? When are you looking at MMA as an opportunity?
Well, I would say that, so through my college experience, I went, we had COVID and stuff, and that brought me back home. And during the COVID, my mom actually had lymphoma. So I had, COVID going on. My mom's, going through chemotherapy, radiation, whole family's going crazy. It was a lot of things going on at that point in my life. And, I had to kind of it's kind of weird to say now, like looking back on it, but I had to take a back seat, for my own aspirations and goals. And, because my family's crazy supportive, has always been there for me. It's like, Orion, you want to be in the NFL, be in the NFL. Orion, you want to throw the javelin in college, throw the javelin in college. Like, they've always been there for me. But when that happened, I had to kind of take a back seat, which was a good opportunity for me to really reflect on where I was at and where I was going. And, come to find out during that COVID time, New Mexico was shut down. Everybody was locked down. I hadn't done anything with any aspect of MMA at this point. But I had some friends going to school in Lubbock, Texas Tech, Reckham. And they were open. So I was like, what am I doing in New Mexico? After, of course, my mom was cleared and everything was good with her, I was like, okay, I gotta continue. I gotta, graduate and stuff. And so I went out to Lubbock, Texas, loved it. My grandma lived out there at the time. And I was having a hard time making friends. And so I was like, I just want to kind of do something different. And, going to Texas Tech at that time, I want to say there was like 48,000 kids going to my school. And, I only had maybe one or two friends. And I was like, you know what? I need to get my name out there. I need to start doing some things. So I actually went to a local bar, Logie's on Overton is the name of it. Best bar in West Texas. And I started bouncing. And so through that, we're all a bunch of college guys, everybody's lifting, everybody's doing this, everybody's trying to look good and, whatever. And I always gravitated towards helping people. And I know in a bar sense, it's kind of weird, but a lot of things happen. And, if that's me carrying a girl out that's passed out, trying to get her help, using my strength in that aspect or breaking up a fight that pops off in front of one of the bartenders, that was another thing. And with that being said, I was literally fighting three nights out of the week, every single week, while going to school and doing, all the things I was doing. And I was just like, I'm kind of getting hurt right now. Like I was like taking guys to the ground and you're just trying to hold them down and then their head, moving. And I'm like, I got to get better at this. Like if I'm going to continue this through my college career, finish out school with this being like my little side hustle money, I might as well get good. And at that point I found Victory MMA Academy, which is in Lubbock, Texas, right outside of Lubbock, Texas. And I started training over there. I just did some like simple Muay Thai classes, some jiu-jitsu things here and there. And I was like, this is cool. But at that point in my life, it's like you're going against people, 30, 40 years old, just trying to break a sweat. And I'm like, that's cool. But then they had an MMA program where I actually met one of my buddies, Mateo. And once I started MMA and I got I don't know if I'm putting myself on blast, but I was getting whooped every day training with those guys because they were professional fighters. And once that happened, I was like, I gotta this is something I want to do. And then, I just kept showing up and, slowly but surely getting better and better out there. And then once I graduated, I came back out here and I had a lot of buddies. Damon Altamirano, he's one of my really good buddies. He was training at Dark Haven. Isaiah Garcia was training at Dark Haven. So I transitioned to jiu-jitsu. And then slowly but surely, continuously showing up every day. And then I found Borg. And then, I got some specialty coaches along the way that, have made a world of a difference. So, yeah.
If you're brand new and you're training with the right people, you should be getting beat up all the time. Don't worry. It's not putting yourself on blast. It's the right, process and in learning and taking that next step in
Absolutely.
the game. So right away in love, it sounds like you don't do anything halfway in.
That unfortunately is not a part of my nature. And that's a lot of the things that get me in trouble and also make me do good in life is I can't half butt anything. And if I'm doing anything, I'm going 110% all the time. So it's just like hunting, fishing, throwing the javelin. It's no one toe in, one toe out. You got to be 100% or it's not going to do anything.
Is there any of that common feeling, that primal feeling between the hunting and the MMA?
It's funny because I had a feeling you were going to ask me that. And my answer to that is going to be that, with my limited experience, in the competition setting or, in the actual cage, I would say that at this point, I'm just hunting to make it past 17 seconds. But once I make it past 17 seconds, then it's going to be hunting to make it out of the first round. And then after the first round, it's going to be hunting to find the guy's chin and then hunting to get that in, the TKO, KO, whatever it looks like, the submission win, whatever opportunity arises, I'm prepared and ready to go. So
the first one didn't go your way. A lesson learned. What do you take away from that first time, though, that you got in there and heard the cage door lock?
Well, I would say this. I'm gonna take it a couple steps back and just take this opportunity to shine the light on my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Because without Him, none of this would be possible. I'm just extremely thankful to be above ground and living the life I live. It's an absolute blessing. And with that moment, man, I tell you what, I could tell this story 5,000 times, and I feel like I don't get all the details in there. But, I kept asking Ray, I'm like, Coach, get me a fight. Get me a fight. Get me a fight. I've been training. Like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. And of course, him being the good coach he is, he's like, hey, Ryan, let's get you some kickboxing. Like, let's do some more jiu-jitsu. And I'm like, Coach, I'm just ready to go, man. Get me in here. And, when the opportunity arose for me to fight at the APFC event, of course, the nerves were going. And then I found out who I was fighting. Nobody really knew too much about him. And, mentally, of course, in my head, I'm like, lock me in there with John Jones. I'm getting it done. Of course, that's me exaggerating a little bit, but, that was the mentality. So, the Mike Tyson saying of, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth was quite literally what happened. I was I was expecting there to be a small crowd. You know, I'm like, this is my debut. It's going to be my family, friends. You know, everything's going to be cool. I'm going to be nervous, but it's going to be okay. And then, you know, they added Gable Stevenson's on the card, sold out the event. I'm finding out all, you know, about all this at practice. I have no idea. The week before the fight, they're like, yeah, everything's sold out. You're going to be the last fight before the main card, or the Wing C guy was after me. And I was like, you know, in my head, I'm trying to stay cool, I'm calm on the outside, but on the inside, I'm, holy cow, this is going to be crazy. And, you know, I was pretty much blacked out walking out, you know, walking out the curtain. I was just like, there's so much to take on. I mean, for anybody that hasn't fought, I mean, you're the main, everyone's just looking at you. It's weird. You know, you got people screaming. And at that event, I had a guy in my face with the camera. I'm seeing my face in the Jumbotron for the first time. I'm like, everything is new, you know, and I'm walking into a cage, you know, where I just am like, I just, at that point, I was completely gone, unfortunately. But with that being said, you know, the experience that I gained from those 17 seconds or just making that walk for the first time, I felt like, you know, regardless of my journey throughout this, you know, aspect of my life or this chapter of my life, I grew so much and nobody can ever take that away from me. Walking to that cage, even when I was like nervous as heck, shaking, you know, I don't know what's going on. I still made the walk. I showed up, made weight. I did everything I needed to do. And, you know, it was just one of those things where I trained, you know, 3 or 4 times a day for months leading up to that. I was way over prepared, stressed about cardio, doing cardio every day. Everything, I was just on go mode every day. And, you know, through that experience, I've learned, you know, whatever's going to happen when that cage door locks is going to happen. And, you know, it's just my job to be prepared, be fluid. And, you know, like Bruce Lee once said, flow like water. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
What's your hopes? What's your expectations? What are your personal like goals come August 15th? Just the second time that you're getting in there as an amateur.
So I would say, you know, right now I'm just looking at targets. What am I trying to hit? What am I trying to do? Right now, I'm just trying to stay healthy. I feel great. My body feels amazing. My mind is at peace. My nerves feel good. I'm locked in that aspect. And that's the next goal. The next target is going to be making weight. Once I make weight, all I got to do is weigh in. That's going to be the hardest part, is weighing in. Once I get that done, then everything else, my skills, my extra reps, you know, the times I didn't want to go train that I went and trained, all of the things that I've sacrificed leading up to that night are going to be, it's going to be just, you're going to just be seeing me hitting the jackpot, cha-ching, 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 because all those reps and everything that I've done are just going to be, you know, adding up, and I'm going to be ready to go. So I would say that ideally getting the W. Let's just get the W. Let's get out there, get some work in, get some more time in the cage underneath my belt, and win, lose or draw, I'm going to go out there and give it 100%. So I'm excited.
O'Ruin Guhrke, August 15th, Fight World 45, training out of Borg MMA and Fitness. Just the second time he's fighting as an amateur. So we got a lot of runway still to go here with a coming together prospect. We shout out to Robbie Ray Images for helping us get this closer look at O'Ruin. Sir, we thank you for the time this evening and joining my fight show.
Absolutely. Y'all have a blessed one and take care.
Welcome back to my fight show. Mika Frankl. Thank thank you. Huge appreciation goes out to O'Ruin Guhrke. First time we had him on the show. Can't wait to see him August 15th. Fight World 45. The New Mexico combat sports scene is on fire. Last weekend, Duke City Championship Wrestling at the El Rey Theater. Legacy Boxing Promotions at Embassy Suites. Kartel Clash 3 at Overtime Bar and Grill. This weekend, Donald Sanchez Promotions returning to the Embassy Suites. Your home for boxing with Donald Sanchez Promotions and the incredible women's main event, Lovato versus Martinez. Looking forward to that one. We're not done, guys. The weekend after that, we do get Fight World 45, a weekend off to catch our breath, and APFC returns to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Heck, Las Cruces, Empire Promotions, and Battle at the Basin in Alamogordo in September. The local combat sports scene is doing great. We are seeing a lot of incredible action going on. To tell us about how his event went, and what sounds like a brand new idea because he's never out of them, Alex Solis is joining us. Kartel leader is what I'm calling you now.
What's up, brother?
How you doing, sir?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic, man. Thank you so much for having me on.
Appreciate your time as always. How was last weekend? How was Kartel Clash 3?
Bro, it was insane. It was some amazing people. The atmosphere was amazing. The Cartel team was great. And just the athletes, the coaches, it was crazy. Like, just the skill level was amazing.
Even before we get to the event, how do you talk Donald Sanchez into doing that video with you? Were you choreographing to the song that you're gonna do? And I know Donald, he's that thug in the club that stands on the wall. He don't dance.
It was hard, man. It's funny because me and Donald had gotten really close, and I told Donald, like, you know what, like, we have to make a video like this because people always see us with tattoos, with cauliflower ear. They see us the tough guys, right? And I was like, this is a great way for people to see, like, the fun side of us, the side that people regularly don't get to see unless you're, like, in our circle.
Still, that was totally Donald. I think we got more of your personality.
That's funny, bro. I know. I had a good time.
Also, I got to bring it up to you right away. I shared the clip a couple days before the event. It looks like we had to change the battleground. We went with the platform instead of the ring after all.
Yeah, we went with the platform. The only reason why we did this for the safety of the athletes, what Donald and I were kind of scared of was that if someone went to go shoot or do something, we didn't want someone's leg to get wrapped around the ropes and break a leg or something like that. So we're like, let's go ahead and just not do that. So we went ahead and got some extra guys to help us for stage detail to make sure that no one fell off the stage. But thankfully, it went amazing. No one actually fell off the stage, which was great.
Yeah, I knew that was a big concern heading in. We had talked about using the ring just to have like a boundary to keep everybody in bounds. But again, with the ropes, you're right. A limb can get caught up in there quite easy. You see it in boxing and bare knuckle boxing,
Yep.
where an arm just kind of gets wrapped up all of a sudden.
Yeah.
What was the highlight of the event for you?
Bro, it was crazy because the way that we match make, right, is like we match according to weight, age, and skill level. But in our application, we always put in there like, hey, are you willing to move up on skill level or weight? A lot of people are always down to do it. I mean, it's not, jiu-jitsu is not what it was 5-10 years ago where like blue belts were blue belts, right? Like there's some blue belts now that are just killers. Like, for example, we have one of my athletes, and Maximus Munoz out of G13 in Belen. He's an orange belt, and he beat a blue belt, an adult blue belt. The parents wanted him to move up, and he just, bro, he got him in a flying armbar.
Oh, all right. Something fancy even.
Yeah, it was. He won fight of the night for his category, so which is crazy.
How did the travel go in, and all told, were you able to keep count of possibly how many different schools were involved in the event?
Yeah, there was over 13 schools there from 4 different states.
13 schools, 4 different states. For you and the team with Kartel, what does that mean to see the reception, to see that kind of participation?
It's amazing, man. It's amazing just to see the growth. Like I always tell people, like, I want it to be like, if you go to my tournaments, you're going to see the difference in the atmosphere. It's not your typical tournament. We try to make sure that everyone like goes, like, the way that I look at it is I want to throw like a big party and have everyone come over and have a good time and be safe and just make friends. And that's exactly what my tournaments are all about.
With that kind of impact, that kind of thought process, what were some of the stories that you got of how this event has benefited people and how excited they were to have this platform?
Just a lot of people so thankful for the opportunity, like just having them be able to compete against someone else, especially here in New Mexico. You kind of go against the same people over and over and over. and being able to bring people from different states and different skill levels, and it just helps exposure. We had the hot spot on there. There were like an additional media team. We had our great photographers. We had broadcast. It was crazy because at the same time it helps people get exposed on how amazing athletes we have in the state, and it helps them, get reached out by other sponsors and other teams that want to recruit these guys. And that's what we're all about, man. We want to make sure that we help people grow.
You talked about a great submission. Was there a specific match that was match of the night?
Yeah, so we had these guys from Clash 2. His name's Brent Bows, and we had Noah Rodriguez. Noah's from Vagabond in Odessa, and Brent is from Next Move in Rio Rancho. And the last time for Clash 2, it didn't go Brent's way, so he wanted a rematch, and we had to make it happen. And that they were trash talking the entire time, and it was just like it. The crowd was so engaged. They were booing, they were yelling, they were screaming. There was so much emotion in it. And it went to, we did EBI rules this time. So it went to overtime, and man, it was just a spectacular match.
Okay, well, that leads to a whole bunch of questions. What does it mean to you, and what were you thinking seeing that kind of emotion? It's your event, and you're there like, we created this. We put this platform together to see that emotional of a response.
It's very emotional for me. The reason why is Kartel Clash 3 probably is the most emotional event that I've had, just because whenever I started Jiu-Jitsu Kartel, like a lot of people told me no. A lot of people kind of shut the door in my face. And I didn't give up. I continued to push forward. And it was great because Professor Pedro and Professor Ox were our referees. They were the first ones to believe in me to start the brand. And then I started Jiu-Jitsu Kartel at OT with Donald Sanchez. He was the first one to give me a chance. He gave me a little 10 by 10 to sell t-shirts. And that's how the whole idea happened. So just being able to have it there, feeling everyone's like emotions, it was just very emotional for me. And I was like, wow, like it's been 13 months since we started Jiu-Jitsu Kartel.
And I know EBI rules, that can be a controversial topic on its own, especially when you get to overtime and back position or the spider position on the arm. How did you feel that incorporating EBI rules played out?
It went amazing. Obviously, we had a coaches meeting. We had the athletes, we had the coaches, and we answered every question that everyone had. So everyone was aligned, and it went great, man. No one really complained. It worked out in everyone's favor.
I know before you can even take a deep breath, before you can even walk out of the venue, Kartel Clash 3 was great. When's Kartel Clash 4?
Yeah, everybody was gone by like 6 o'clock, and I kid you not, by like 7, 8 o'clock at night, I had over 140 messages. And then that's not including Facebook and Instagram. They're like, "When's the next one? When's the next one? We put my son in the next one. We want this person back. We want the rematch. We want the call outs." Like, I'm already planning 4 and 5.
Planning 4, planning 5. Any other news or anything adjusted? Anything we need to know about Kartel Invitational? Any news on that front yet?
Yeah, so we have 7 teams right now. We're still looking for 3 more. Regardless if we get 3 more or not, we're still going to make it happen. The grand prize is still going to be $3,000. We have some amazing athletes. Like I said, we have some guys from Kingsway out there in Austin coming down. We have amazing athletes from Colorado coming down. We have guys from California, Arizona, Texas coming down, and then we have 2 teams from New Mexico. So it's gonna be insane, man.
And now, am I seeing you have a next innovation, Kartel Wrestling, possibly coming?
Yeah, so we're gonna call it Clash of the Wrestlers. So me and Donald are gonna launch this. It's gonna happen in October. I'll give you guys a date here soon, but it's something that we had a meeting with yesterday, and it's something that just sparked. We've thought about it for very many months. Actually, my wife is the one that thought about it, and I was like, it's going to be so hard to make it happen. And we have had some amazing response to it. We already have Henry Cejudo's team out of Arizona that's interested in coming down. They're going to bring a bunch of their athletes. So I'm telling you, man, it's going to be crazy.
We've seen with Real American Freestyle, with UFC BJJ, Flow Grappling was a forefront on it. that the grappling industry is just growing. The grappling participation and the acknowledgement in the combat sports world, I think it's just getting more and more appreciation.
I agree. And then me and Donald have teamed up. We're gonna partner up. We're gonna be launching some new things that are gonna it's gonna blow everyone's mind. So we're not gonna say what it is yet, but it's gonna be big news to everyone.
Does that mean you're going to be front row center this weekend, Embassy Suites?
I will be there.
Have you been to a Liana Martinez or Amanda Lovato fight? Have you ever seen either one of our two headliners fight?
I have not, but I'm excited. I've seen videos, so
Get ready for a scrap. Get ready for a brawl. I tell you, my odds would say this one's going to be the fight of the night. That's the one. You might get some dramatic finishes, and I think some prospects making statements on the way up, but that's the one that's probably going to steal the show and be most memorable.
that's gonna be up there also with Shotgun Weddle. He's another one, man. Y'all can't just wait to see what he does as well. It's gonna be a lot of good scrappers.
That's one of those prospects I think that's going to be out there making a statement. I got fight of the night for the main event.
Yep.
We got all of this great stuff going on with Kartel, and I'm calling you now the Kartel leader because Kartel Combat with Kartel Clothing, with the Kartel Invitational. What are we missing? What have we failed to touch on today?
No, that's pretty much it, man. Just the Clash of the Wrestlers be coming out soon. Cartel Clash 4 will be launched soon as well. Cartel Clash 5, we're taking it to El Paso. So we're going to be getting guys from Cruces, El Paso, and Mexico. It's already in the works. I'm already talking to people that have gyms in Mexico. It's going to be insane, man. So it's very humbling, but I'm very, very excited for everyone.
For Cartel Clash, Cartel Invitational, Clash of the Wrestlers, are we good with the platform now? Are we thinking maybe implementing a cage to keep everybody in and safe? What are we thinking?
We're definitely looking into a cage.
See that makes it interesting, and then that also makes it tougher. That implements the clinch work, and then also that space when a submission's locked in, it makes adjusting different. So it's a whole different ball game.
Yep.
Taking away the platform and inserting the cage.
Yep, exactly.
Alex Solis, it's great to see what you're doing. Best of luck and continued success.
I appreciate you, brother, and God bless, man.
We appreciate you joining us on My Fight Show tonight. You have a good one.
You too, brother. Later.
Alex Solis, the cartel is growing. The innovation for local combat sports, local grappling, teaming up with Donald Sanchez, everything that he is doing with local boxing. Glad to see it. Glad to see what's going on. People keeping alive the local scene. The next 2 months are crazy busy for the combat sports community and landscape here in New Mexico. We're going to talk some bare knuckle boxing. We still got our main event guest coming up here in a little bit. He does hypnosis. He knocks people out. He is a top 5 ranked light heavyweight. Cody Vidal, the Knuckle Maniac. We're just over 30 minutes away from him joining My Fight Show. Again, shout out to O'Ruin Guhrke. Shout out to Alex Solis. Appreciate both of them giving us some time tonight, talking about the local combat sports scene. We already addressed the PFL. They have merged with MVP. Had an event this past week in New York, heading to Charlotte, North Carolina this week. From the 2 biggest stars in the promotion to the deepest division of the promotion, the middleweights being affected this week. We already touched on the MMA. We turn our attentions now to the world of bare knuckle. And we got a lot of stuff to talk about with BKFC. So before we get to the BKFC stuff, we're going to real quickly look at some new announcements from BKB, including former contender with BKFC, signed with BKB, Beksad Usmanov. You saw it probably recently on our story, October 23rd. Yes, that's a Friday night. Bally's Fight Night, BKB on the Bally's app from the Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Biloxi, you get a lightweight #1 contender showdown. That's 135 pounds. The former champion, Jared Grant, takes on Beksad Usmanov, the former BKFC champion, who we haven't seen since he was made his debut spectacular there with BKB. We saw him here locally flooring Keith Richardson his last time out. That's huge news. And the undercard for BKB 58 Miami, August 29th, starting to come together. You get Aspen Ladd with her official debut. You get former BKFC cruiserweight challenger Keegan Vandermeer looking to reestablish himself. You had former cruiserweight challenger Murat Kilametov also going to be making his Trigon debut. So Miami starting to stack up very nicely from BKB. BKFC, though, we're going to have a big, longer conversation about them as they've been really active. They had a crazy busy weekend last weekend. Start off with the crowning of an inaugural UK bantamweight champion as Bradley Taylor puts a convincing beating on Louis Garside. Garside came in with a lot of momentum. Power puncher getting on the inside, had been very successful in the UK, and Taylor instead met that aggression head on. A knockdown in the first round dictated the pace, and the damage just started accumulating. An early cut and just targeting the cut, exposing the left eye, damaging Garside, a speed advantage, a volume advantage, a huge victory for Bradley Taylor, who now finds himself in the top 5 and one step away possibly from challenging Jamel Herrick for the BKFC world title. In that same right, you have lightweight Lewis Keane, who incredibly impressive in taking out Stu Martin in the 4th round. Keane continues to build. He's already ranked in the top 5. He's impressing me more each time out. He has great size for the weight class, brings a physicality to a heavily muscled athlete, and you don't normally see those guys be able to push a pace, but he does. This one getting into the 4th round, and we really didn't see any waning, any slowing of an offensive effort. No drop-off. Effective from the outside and getting on the inside. His hooks are nasty. So a very talented UK fighter to definitely keep an eye on. Harrison Cave versus Danny Moyer, the fight of the night. A gritty, brutal 5-round affair that goes to a draw. Close as could be, split across the board on how the judges were seeing the rounds. Plus, you had 4 more other incredible knockouts as the BKFC was in Newcastle. That was the fight night from the week. But they had a crazy busy week because August 29th, BKFC is in Fenway Park. You get Kai Stewart, Harry Gigliotti, you get the Joe Lozon bare knuckle debut, Rico DeSulo, Peter Barrett, people that have been building up in that New England area. Now the Massachusetts guys get their hometown showcase literally on the mound at Fenway Park. And BKFC held a press conference last week in Boston. And one of the greatest heels in combat sports, if you are in for the showmanship, the pageantry, if you need the hoopla, the pomp and circumstance to really make you care about the fight night action, you're missing something if you're not following Kai Stewart, someone that has really taken the ball and ran with it. As far as it's not the same tenure as Lorenzo Hunt, but he has obviously learned from Lorenzo. Have something to say every time you have the mic, and don't stop saying what you have to say until everyone hears it. The King is annoying to no end. He brings up his mustache. He has already antagonized Miami to where he is, and this is a quote from him at the press conference, he had the Cuban mafia after him. And now he's just there belittling all of Boston, trying to draw their anger and ire and see how he can become basically a New York Yankee. He wants to be that villainously hated in Boston ahead of this fight to come in and play spoiler. I have already suggested to him white with dark blue pinstripes. That's the way you got to go. If you want to go all the way in, go all the way in for the baseball theme and get that hate on you. Any words on Alan Nascimento? Yeah, incredible tragedy. Our condolences out to the Shuto Box team. I know that I saw recent comments that Charles Oliveira, the emotional leader and the team captain, he's the quarterback in the room, is taking this one very hard. It's incredible tragedy. If you guys haven't heard, UFC flyweight Alan Nascimento, unfortunately, passing away in his sleep from a heart attack at 34 years old. There's a lot of question to be wondered how that could happen to an athlete of his tender, how something like that could happen to a young man that was in the, if not his athletic prime, just outside of it. Look at another story coming out recently, and not to belittle the Alan Nascimento tragedy, but just how crazy life works out. Danny Silva, who I've once upon a time had the opportunity to interview, he has had to pull out of his August 22nd fight, UFC Sacramento. Long story, after a rib injury, some treatment, he went on a run. He ends up feeling unwell during the run, toughs through it, goes home. When he's disrobing, he realized that he has inflammation on his neck and ribs to the left side. He ends up checking with medical professionals, going to the ER, spends 3 days in the ER. Danny Silva is now on medication for blood clots. And a lot of the talk from the doctors, according to his post, was that if he wasn't in such phenomenal shape, he might not have been able to survive such an ordeal on his body. And that's just unfortunate that a guy that was in such great shape like Alan Nascimento was unable to. A horrendous situation. Our condolences out to all of his loved ones. Saw that in the comments as we were talking about bare knuckle. It's my fight show. I'm Mika Frankl. Every like, every share, every subscriber, hugely appreciated. Like the support we get from Barber Gabe. Barber Gabe's Fades at 100 Coors Boulevard, Northwest. That's Lobo Plaza, right here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The door is at Suite 107 inside the strip mall. You go over there, you get cut up by the precision hands that lay down knockouts in the APFC like Barber Gabe. And he has a whole cast of crew and teammates, stylists, barbers, designers inside the shop that are just as precise. So you want to book at barbergabesfades.net. Walk-ins are always welcome, and we appreciate their support. That great website, barbergabesfades.net, because it's where you pick up your Barbers R Us beard balm. Look at the hold coming together, keeping me nice as we're talking about fights tonight. Velvet Noir and the Cherry, both available. Got my favorite. Get yours at barbergabesfades.net. We got a lot of young prospects coming together, their careers coming together. O'Ruin Guhrke, we appreciate him coming on earlier tonight. See him next weekend. Fight World 45. We got Barber Gabe, who we're always talking about. August 30th. These young men and these fighters that are battling for our entertainment, and we're seeing their careers just come together. And again, RIP to Alan Nascimento, a guy that we were just really getting to know inside of the UFC and definitely gone way too soon. Before we got into answering the comment, and we'll always jump on your comments, whether it's Facebook or on YouTube, just let us know what you want to talk about. If there's a topic that we are not touching on tonight, let's talk about it. It's my fight show. Combat sports, pro wrestling. Pro Wrestling After Hours is coming out tomorrow from the After Hours Podcast Network. We've got MMA After Hours out right now. Me and Michael Carlisle already got deep into UFC Belgrade. We talked about UFC 120. Shout out to last week's guest on the show, able to talk with Ty Miller, one of the biggest betting favorites on the card coming up here August 8th as the UFC is back in the Apex. Incredible main event, in my opinion, where you get to see Quillen Solakid, top-ranked lightweight prospect. Who knows how far his ceiling is up. Taking on Matthews Gamrot, battle tested. He's only lost to the elite division. Presses an insane pace and uses his wrestling. It's just the finishing power isn't there. And Salikot definitely has that killer instinct. I am captivated by this weekend's UFC Fight Night main event. Like, share, subscribe, rate, review. Every time you do that, it really does help what we're doing here at Cage Minds and My Fight Show to keep building the brand, to keep covering the combat sports that we all love. Was talking about BKFC, a busy week for them. Fenway Park, Kai Stewart, the best villain in BKFC. Truly remarkable how he is able to annoy the masses and keep getting under guys' skin. Harry Gigliotti, precision puncher, a lineage in boxer, looking at a wrestler, almost in disdain, says, I'm going to rip a body shot to your liver like you have never felt before. Kai Stewart knows how to bring out the heat, knows how to bring us the dramatic additive to a heated rivalry and a world title fight. Love that we got that press conference. Rob Perez, if you hadn't seen his antics inside of Dirty Boxing, he was another guy captivating the masses, trash talking. Almost seemed like he demeaned Hugo Viana into sitting back down and almost intimidated. It feels like he might have already won that fight before it got going. Kai Stewart disrespecting Boston. Joe Lozon right next to him. Lozon a professional and understands the game, but still had to warn him where it seemed like Slippery Pete Barrett was about to jump over the tables. Kai Stewart is so well at the psychology that it's not just you. It's your team. It's everybody around you. It's everybody in the city that he is about to annoy. Anything to disrupt the atmosphere. Anything to try to take your focus, your eye off the 8-ball. I've had an opportunity to talk with both men in lead up to this fight already. There were some technical difficulties as to why we don't have those interviews. We are trying to rebook them. Hopefully we will have them. Shout out to Lorenzo Coca. If you guys need any yard work, landscaping done, he's the one to hit up because he was even on Facebook telling Kai, hey, you need to jump on My Fight Show. You got to get on Cage Minds and talk with Mika Frankl. And I think Kai was like, we already did that. Unfortunately, we still got to get that together. We're going to hopefully get that together ahead of the Fenway Park deal. So from Boston, Massachusetts, BKFC quickly hopped on a jet, flew over to Newcastle. We had the BKFC fight night. We already talked about it. Bradley Taylor, Lewis Keane, the two names from the fight night that you really need to know, the two guys that we should be expecting to see in bigger fights. Now, I would say coming over to America for those bigger fights, but now both BKB and BKFC have renewed vested interests in conquering the market in the home of bare knuckle. Where bare knuckle originated, where BKB actually came from, that company. And England, that is now the battleground, the landscape. That's why we just had BKFC Newcastle and BKFC Manchester with Darren Till versus Yoel Romero is taking such precedence. It's taking the forefront. And we had the press conference earlier today. Yoel Romero, a boogeyman, says you think this is a nightmare, but this is one that you can't wake up from. I think I got that translation a bit more accurate than what his translator did, or at least for it to sound a little more decisive. Darren Till actually much appreciates Yoel Romero in this equation with this opportunity, because Darren Till came to BKFC as expected for the long-rumored, long-awaited Mike Perry fight. Mike Perry went and fought Nate Diaz. Okay, now he's going to come back. Nope, now it looks like Mike Perry is going to go and fight Dylan Dennis. Maybe Mike Perry versus a guy in his weight class is now a thing of the past for BKFC. Had the Jeremy Stevens fight, had the Eddie Alvarez fight, became the king of violence. Hasn't seemed like he's been interested in a world title fight. Now he's not even interested in the money fight. I don't know the financials, but it seems to me that Manchester, UK, a fight card that Dave Feldman said, this is the UK equivalent of us doing Knuckle Mania. This card is bigger than Knuckle Mania for this audience, for this market. So telling us this is a second mega show this year, I got to imagine that all efforts were made to have Platinum on the card, to put the end to this rivalry, to make a fight that people have wanted to see outside of the UFC for years, with two guys that have coyly trash talked around each other and always made it seem like this fight was going to happen. And now we're left here, I wouldn't say holding a bucket, but we got a really great substitute. Yoel Romero is explosive. He is dangerous. He is an ageless wonder. I saw a joke on the comment section of the press conference that said, do we know what kind of deal he made to become immortal? Ageless wonder, athletic freak. Darren Till, more precise, more accurate, a little bit more experience when it comes to the traditional boxing. And we just saw that going over to Russia. Whether you like the scorecards or not, probably I'd listen to you if you tell me Yoel Romero won at IBA Bare Knuckle. But he was in a competitive fight. It's possible for this version of Yoel Romero in this sport to be dragged into a competitive fight. And after seeing that bout, if Darren Till has the toughness to stand up, maybe we do get an all-time classic. Darren Till, Yoel Romero. Dave Mundell coming back, defending his BKFC middleweight title. A huge opportunity as the BKFC is making this big march towards the exposure and towards getting their name more throughout the battleground of the UK. It's interesting that they have both chosen the UK to really be a battleground for putting on bigger and bigger fight cards. You saw that with BKB 2 weekends ago with the debut of the Vargas brothers, with bringing in an Aaron Chalmers, not to mention Mick Terrell's return. And now this massive card on the heels of some UK title fights. Interesting the direction, the market strategy, and what is important to the two biggest bare knuckle companies in the world. As we await for Miami at the end of the month for the Trigon to return, BKFC is continuing their schedule. I wouldn't say at a blistering pace, but it's quite rivaling UFC at this point. This weekend, we got another one after last weekend having one. And this weekend, it is the third year in a row that BKFC returns to Sturgis, the nation's biggest motorcycle rally. Outdoors, always a vibe and an atmosphere. Fight night is opening night for Megadeth. You get the fights and then you get the concert. Not sure if it's all going to be on the BKFC app, but to be there and to be live in Sturgis, that's a vibe. An all-time historic metal group and some of the craziest violence and entertainment you could possibly have on tap. A huge one in the cruiserweight division as Brian Aitchison, 5-0, takes on the 4-1 Mike Jones. Heavyweights, Bear Hill versus Brady Mister in your co-main event. Trevon Kroger is an interesting prospect developing at 3-0 in the BKFC. And as I looked at the card, even though Josh Oxendine is no longer a part of it, there was another name that just jumped off the board to me. Clay Collard makes his BKFC debut. PFL vet, UFC vet, the same Clay Collard who was giving prospects the litmus test and fits inside of the top-ranked bubble in Las Vegas. Such a notable veteran sneaking onto the card that I did not notice. So Bare Knuckle returns to one of their signature destinations. You got to love the motorcycle rally, the outdoor vibes. I've talked to Wild Bill Albert about fighting out there, the crowd, the heat. He saw Conor McGregor out there, the kind of show that you're able to put together when it's rock music, bare knuckle, and a motorcycle rally put together. On top of it, you get one that really matters to the cruiserweight division. Current cruiserweight champion Alessio Sakara looks to have business at Ironweight. Interim cruiserweight champion Esteban Mohawk Rodriguez is set to take on Stephen Mohawk Townsend in September in Hollywood, Florida, in an ironweight fight. The cruiserweight division is wide open, and Brian Aitchison versus Mike Jones get to take advantage of this opportunity. Aitchison is quietly one of the fastest rising cruiserweights in the division with that record. Jumped out to a 2-0 start, showing composure, durability, punching power. 5-0 in bare knuckle, 7-0 in MMA, 7-0 as a fighter. His 2 MMA wins are first round knockouts. His amateur career was quick and devastating. One of these guys gets a lot closer to the championship picture. Well, Mike Jones is coming off of a knockout in June. Jones has put together quite the win streak of his own. Overall, it's 5 in a row as a fighter. He won 4 in a row as a bare knuckle fighter, and 3 of them have come in the BKFC. So if you're following me, bare knuckle 4 wins in a row, 3 of them in the BKFC. That other win came in the Fusion Fight League in a championship bout. Aitchison and Jones were actually already scheduled to fight earlier this summer. They were going to kick off the summer battling for the Fusion Fight League title, and instead it gets moved to this dynamic setting where a world title implication is on the line between 2 dynamic power punchers that have definitely brought their games together. So the cruiserweight division gets a big one right now with 2 finishes. We haven't seen Aitchison in a while. It makes me interested as to how he's developed, having fought in Fusion in 2025 and 2026. So his bare knuckle game has evolved without us seeing it. Don't expect that one to go long, where Aitchison is the knockout machine, and Mike Jones, he even knows the joke, is coming off of a first round knockout in June, adding to this destructive path that he has been on. The co-main event, you get someone looking to regain momentum. Heavyweights looking to rally off of disappointing fights and disappointing performances. Bear Hill broke into the scene, eye-catching power, and already owns a memorable Sturgis victory. But at 2-1, he's still developing. He has fight-ending power, but is really looking to still develop into a skilled competitor. Brady Mister needs to have a statement-making performance. Despite being 2-2, he's battled experienced opposition and knows a win over Hill immediately puts him back on the radar. A lengthy heavyweight who has shown the potential to be technical at a distance, but has gotten caught when he brings the fight into the pocket, is shown to be that his length almost gets stifled in too close, and he hasn't found the recipe exactly to get back outside and utilize it more. Featherweights, Trevon Kroger, as I said, was a name to look out for. One of the night's most intriguing prospects, unbeaten featherweight, 2-0 to open his career, showing aggression, confidence, and natural finishing instincts. Last year, Kroger scored an impressive first-round stoppage. Another dominant showing puts him in the conversation at featherweight to start getting one of these bigger fights. And we know we just saw Trey Martin turn the division upside down in Nashville with his victory over Nathan Rivera. There's oodles of depth, and it's very easy to quickly make an impact at 145 pounds. At 165 pounds, one of the, again, more intriguing debuts to me, it's Clay Collard. Clay Collard has built his combat sports resume in one of the most unique ways possible, with going from the UFC to the PFL, having made that stop in between with Top Rank Boxing, having showed that his boxing translated from MMA to real prospects, giving guys fits, showing his durability. His kicks were underrated in MMA, but it's the handwork that we have to concentrate here on bare knuckle. Well, he hasn't been the most aggressive, guys. He can up it. He's always willing to exchange. He's experienced in the pocket. I just think he has to recognize right away with the danger aspect of bare knuckle, where it can go wrong quickly. He's not going to be able to absorb shots. He's going to need to get on the offensive right away. His durability is not going to be an attribute here. if you choose to stick it out in front. It has to be something that you use in a measured aspect. If you're trying to be too brave, use that durability too head on, that only becomes a hindrance, and then you're just a punching bag. Ancient's climbing towards title contention. We're looking to see if Mike Jones can stop him. Show that, remember, I am a bare knuckle champion. Yeah, it's a feeder league, but there's a reason why I deserve to be here making noise in the cruiserweight division. Not to mention, Mike Jones is someone that I started seeing fight in MMA at welterweight. Now we're seeing him all the way up at 205 pounds. Does the natural size of Brian Aitchison come into play at some time, that he is the naturally bigger man, that he is the cruiserweight, the ironweight? There's no way he is dropping down to middleweight. Javon Kroger can emerge with another dominant win, the featherweight division. When you get past Harry Gigliotti, we're looking for James Brown. We're looking for Brian Duran. We're looking for the return of Nico Gaffey, and to see who's going to be the guys that are giving them their challenges. Kroger could turn out to be one of them. And Clay Collard, to me, it might be flying under the radar, but his arrival is huge and could really mean something as a tough, gritty veteran in the welterweight division, where you're looking to redefine that division post Austin Trout, with Dustin Page having the title. Julian Lane looked like he was making momentum, and now it has become Page's division. And I wouldn't be surprised if Bryce Henry has a huge thing to say about the future and the direction of the BKFC welterweight division. Cody Vidal is one of the most entertaining personalities in BKFC. He's belovedly known as the Knuckle Maniac, has embraced a larger-than-life character. He has taken on that NWO, New World Order lifestyle. I don't know if it's Hulk Hogan. I don't know if it's Macho Man Randy Savage, but he has that throwback personality. He's already talked to us as a public, as a general bare knuckle audience, about the power of the mind. A hypnotist who puts his fists all over you has taken the division by storm, showing his enormous punching power. And what he did to Jody Escobar made a statement over a former BKB champion. The persona, the fighting style, a driven man. Our main event guest is going to be along in just a couple minutes. And with all of our talk on bare knuckle, I'll be honest, everybody, I have definitely got to catch my breath. Give me just a second, and we'll be right back on My Fight Show. Had to take a drink of water, hydrate everybody. H2O is important. The summer has been hot. Keep drinking the water. Keep yourself quenched, refreshed, and not dehydrated. Not a sponsorship thing, just like drink your water. It's a good idea. It's good for your health. We're going to have the Knuckle Maniac, Cody Vidal, joining us as our main event guest just a couple minutes out from that. Right now, ranked number 3 in the BKFC light heavyweight division. He's been a crazy personality, and that's what it's taken. It's been the personality. It's been trying to stand up. It's been trying to stand out. It's that same mentality. Who wants the ball? Who wants to run with it? Who is going to put the promotion on their back? Everybody wants to fight for a title, but show us why you earn it. Cody Vidal, with the win over Simpson, with the win over Escoboza, with this larger-than-life character, it really does feel like coming off of a very competitive draw against Brandon Conley, where Conley loses to Simpson, a huge rebound against Mendoza just last month. It all puts himself in a very interesting position. I'm still wondering, what is the true fate of the light heavyweight division with the thought that Lorenzo Hunt is not just your light heavyweight champion, he's your ironweight champion. We're still looking for those ironweight rankings to come out when we get more ironweight photos or fights going. But with Esteban Mohawk Rodriguez looking at moving up, you got to ask yourself, is Lorenzo Hunt going to go from fighting at his walking around weight to still wanting to drop down to 185 to defend this light heavyweight title? With Dyer and Warren having already been taken care of, with Vidal beating Escoboza, and Richmond somehow still ranked in this division, but having dropped down to middleweight and having a loss to Johnny Garbarino, who I can't believe isn't ranked. And we have guys like Marcus Edwards and Dakota Cochran, who I believe have just been benched, that are still ranked. I don't fully get the layout and picture of what we're developing at middleweight, but at light heavyweight, it seems pretty academic right now. If Lorenzo Hunt is returning to 185 pounds, Cody Vidal would be a very likely title challenger. He has the upcoming challenge of a Joseph Greer, who himself is a lengthy, technical fighter, a Muay Thai background, a lower volume but high accuracy distance management fighter, 6-3, a wealth of experience. It feels like this is on a 3-fight win streak since the loss to Jared Warren. This is Greer's opportunity to regain a title shot that I think he thought he deserved a while ago. He stumbled, and now he's back. On the other side, Vidal already being ranked feels like the most accurate and rightful challenger. Knuckle Maniac should be joining us any minute. Cody Vidal, BKFC, light heavyweight, been on a tear over the last 2 years. Hasn't seen defeat in the BKFC. Had that hiccup with going to a draw. Excuse me. We saw him with the initial defeat to Richardson, that hiccup, and since then has rebounded beautifully. The Escoboza win sticks out so much, being able to put that aggression together. Our main event guest, any moment, Cody Vidal, the Knuckle Maniac. Looks like he's trying to get connected with us. Give us a second to make sure everything is working on the technical side, guys. Our main event guest is coming up in just a moment. Good evening, MMA guru Simon Feck. Hope you're having a wonderful evening or making someone else's evening quite wretched. Whichever makes you happier, I hope you're doing what you do. Mika Frankl, it's my fight show. Huge weekend of combat sports in the rearview mirror. Ahead of us is still our main event guest, Cody Vidal. We are trying to get connected with him right now. I believe the Knuckle Maniac is joining us all the way from California. And I have truly been ecstatic and waiting to do this interview for a long time. Let's welcome in top 5 ranked, the number 3 ranked BKFC light heavyweight.
What? 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 Did you just say number 3?
I was reading that from the website.
You meant number 1. I'm your favorite fighter's favorite fighter. Lorenzo Hunt said the most underrated fighter is Cody, the Knuckle Maniac Vidal. What?
When you hear something like that from a double champ, from a champ with what Lorenzo Hunt has did,
Triple champ.
That you're aiming for, what does that mean?
That means exactly what it means. That means that I am number 1. He knows it. Everybody else in the division knows it. People in the division below, people in the division above, they all know it. Nobody wants to fight a guy who's only 5'9" and doesn't even train and can still beat the fuck out of your brain.
Wow. 5'9", doesn't train, can beat up your brain. He is a mainstay here in the bare knuckle world. What brought you to bare knuckle?
I came out of my mother's womb, and before I came out of my mother's womb, I had no gloves on, and I was beating on those walls. I was beating on those walls, and I was screaming, and I was gleaming. Get me the hell out of here so I can win the BKFC championship. And that's the bottom line, because the Knuckle Maniac said so.
The energy of the Knuckle Maniac is unparalleled. Did you always have this kind of energy, this vitality?
My last name is Vidal. It sounds exactly like Vital because I am vital. I am homicidal. And if you want to live, then you should not fight me because there is no survival.
And the guys that have been fighting you recently haven't been surviving. You have one war that went all the way to the judges. And since then, you've been on a tear. What has been the coming together over the last 3 fights that has seen you put together this trail of destruction?
I am who I am. I am who I am. It's that simple. Most people train 2 times a day, 3 times a day. They take their vitamins. They drink their chocolate milk. They do everything they can to look in the mirror and think that they could beat me. And the mirror cracks. They go lay in bed. They lay down their head. They close their eyes and they see dread. Because I am the nightmare. There is no dream. I kill them all. Just like Metallica's very first album. You know what I mean.
What's the best Metallica song?
Search seek and destroy. Nah, there's too many to name.
Yeah, see, that one was going to be a little bit harder. I'm like, man, that's kind of a hard choice. I don't know how you actually decide on that one.
For whom the bell tolls.
Is there a change in the energy, in the feeling when that bell tolls, or does the switch flip somewhere else during fight day?
When devices come out of the factory and they're missing switches, they typically get thrown away. My dad thought he could throw me away. My mom thought she could throw me away. I didn't have a switch, so they couldn't turn me off. When this device was made, it was made on, and it doesn't stop. It doesn't go off. And the only time I go off is when I step foot in that ring and I kill who I gotta kill to become the king of Bada Bing.
The Knuckle Maniac. Was this almost, I don't know, an awakening when you were able to display who the Knuckle Maniac is to the public?
Cain and Abel were the first children of Adam and Eve, and Cain killed Abel with a rock. It was a display of violence, a vital display of power. The favorite album of Pantera, by the way, is called A Vulgar Display of Power, but I call it a vital display of power. So I don't even remember your question, but all I know is this. When I let these fists go, oh, it's bliss. for anybody that likes to see blood and Knuckles kicking ass all day long. I didn't rhyme that time, and it's the only time I didn't rhyme, but that's okay because my voice is mine, and I'll do whatever I want whenever I want to do with it, and that's the bottom line. Because the Knuckle Maniac said so.
It unfairly doesn't mention freestyle rapper, rhymer in your BKFC bio. I think we need to have them change that.
Rap is crap. It's your DMX. Yo, what the deal? I love DMX. Yo, these.
You know, you bring up DMX. I love DMX. It's not just the DMX that we hear on the radio. It's the more spiritual stuff. It's hearing his true thoughts, a lot of his poetry, and we hear a lot of the positivity. We heard a lot of the conflict that he had to deal with. How do you, Cody Vidal, or the Knuckle Maniac, relate to DMX?
He's from Philly. I'm north of Philly. We both have raspy, loud voices. And we both killy. I don't know. All I know is this. When I hear the DMX talk, it reminds me of my dad because they have the same exact voice. My dad has the same voice that DMX has.
Is that a powerful voice to you? Is that like almost an influential voice to you?
I mean, what's your favorite DMX song?
Probably Let Me Fly.
Either let me fly or give me death. Let my soul rest, take my breath. If I don't fly, I'ma die anyway. I'ma live longer, I'll be gone any day. Hold me down, jiggers wanna know me now. Didn't wanna play with me, wanna show me how. Know me out, cause it's all about the buff. Let the dog loose, baby, it's about the scruff. Light up the night, like the 4th of July. Jiggers know when I let go, jiggers die. This is why. If you don't know, you're slow like Baltimore. If you ain't trying to go, you blow. I soak up all the pain and accept it in silence. When I let go, it's violence. It's the wildest. I can keep going.
Wow, this is incredibly impressive. I
I'm not
didn't
even a rap
expect-
fan. I'm just a DMX fan.
That was great. That would kill it at karaoke, knowing you freestyle off the top of your head without a beat. That was really solid, Cody.
Well, I always kill it at karaoke, which is why Kill 'Em All is my favorite Metallica album.
Oh wow, so it's karaoke like something that you do get into, something you have a fondness
If
of?
I walk by a place that has a microphone, if somebody asks me to do a podcast, if somebody's like, hey, get on stage, or if somebody's like, hey, do you want to fight? Which that never happens. If someone challenges me to perform, I will outshine everybody in every single way. And with all due respect, all pride aside, I give the power and the glory to my Lord, Jesus Christ.
Is it more than just being a fighter for you? Is there also like a grandness to being an entertainer, to providing this joy and entertainment?
You could be a clown or you could be a king. A clown entertains and a king reigns. You can only be one at a time. So there's a time to be a clown to entertain, and there's a time to be a king that you can reign. So I've had my experiences of both, and I've learned my lessons, and I continue to learn my lessons as they come. And like I said before, I give all the glory to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
From a bare knuckle fighter, I don't think many people anticipated a character, anticipated the dynamicness that we get from Cody Vidal. Not to mention, we've already, if you follow along in your journey, know well about your feeling about the power of the mind and hypnosis. How much do you feel you just break the mold of a combat sports athlete?
All the intensity that you see, I just keep that inside. It's time released. So I stay calm. And, you've seen me when I fought Dave Simpson. I held it in till the 5th round. And I walked out there and I gave him a hug and I said, I love you, brother. God bless you. Because at that point, I decided it was over. And you saw a complete shift in energy, in pace, in action, because that's who I am. I could literally die and come back to life on the ground, get up and beat anybody. And that's just a fact.
What led to your exploration into the strength of the mind? And we can give you a moment to obviously do the life stuff that you're in the middle of while you're graciously talking to us.
I'm gonna run and get my charger. Not 1%.
Oh no! If it dies and you cut out, the link is still good.
If it
you
dies,
want to
it
leave now.
dies. I'm here. I got it. Okay, let me put a light on. What was that question?
When did you start to dive into the exploration of the power of the mind?
I was I mean, I always did to a degree because I had to. I wrote a song when I was 17 years old called Forever I Fight. And I'll just give you the lyrics off the top of my head. Fought my whole life, fought to survive, fought my own mind to keep my sanity alive. Won many battles, won many wars, never accepted defeat, forever waging war. War, fight, 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 forever I fight. Taught myself to try, taught to never quit, actually taught myself to fight, taught to never quit, fight until I die. My will is infinite. Failed many goals, failed perfection, never lost my soul. Forever determined, determined, fight, fight, forever I fight. This cannot be stopped. This can never die. No, I cannot be stopped. I will always fight. This cannot be killed. This will never die. Fight, 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 forever I fight. And when I write words down or when I speak, I'm willing to fight for them. I'm willing to kill for them. I'm willing to die for them. But most importantly, I'm willing to live for them. And all of creation is nothing but sound. Sound creates, that's my son made that for me. I guess it's like the sign of the covenant or something. It's a rainbow. It has nothing to do with gay pride, trust me. Uh, but yeah, man. I forgot what I was saying, but you asked me about the power of the mind, and oh yeah, cymatics is the study of sound and how sound creates physical environment. So all physical objects, all physical matter is made of energy, and this energy has their frequencies. These frequencies create sacred geometrical shapes. These sacred geometrical shapes create patterns. These patterns create physical reality. And so when God says, I spoke a word and created the universe, the word universe means one word. So the words you speak, I think Conor McGregor said it. If you can see it in here and you can speak it, it'll come true, which by the way, I've been saying that I am going to meet Conor McGregor. I am going to be friends with Conor McGregor. I'm going to train with Conor McGregor. I am going to work on Conor McGregor's mind. I'm going to pray with Conor McGregor. I've been saying it for a very long time. Guess who just moved like a couple miles from me?
Oh wow, Conor McGregor. That's and we know he has a big recovery ahead of him currently with the ACL injury and surgery.
And guess who had that same ACL injury?
How long ago was that for you?
It was fucking back in like 20. I was shit. I think it was like 2018. I think I got that injury in Well, yeah, I didn't have an ACL going into the fight in Bellator, but I got the injury in Bellator to my MCL and broke my tibia. I wonder if Connor's getting the surgery done at the same place I got it done at. That'd be interesting.
Also, at least for him too, modern medicine every couple of years it seems like getting better and better. So ACL doesn't sound as bad as it did 2 decades ago.
I have a cadaver in my knee. I have a dead person walking in my knee. So yeah, I mean with stem cells and with fucking AI, who knows? They could probably program. They could probably create their own robotic cells that go on there and just fuse everything together.
Because I know you can detach it. You could try to reattach it itself. You could go with the cadaver ligament. How did you feel that the cadaver ligament worked out for you?
I mean, I'm the Knuckle Maniac.
Oh, so a good review.
You could say that.
Or the Knuckle Maniac just doesn't care and he's overcome it.
I guess. Yeah. I mean, they told me before surgery, well, we're going to fix your ACL, we're going to fix your MCL.
I woke up in excruciating pain on drugs, obviously screaming, "Where's the fucking doctor at?" Like I was literally like giving the doctor death threats. Because I didn't. Isn't like I've never been knocked unconscious in my life, and when they put a mask on you and they look at you and they have devices in their hands that are about to open you up, you don't remember anything. So when you come to and you're in excruciating pain, it's like being born again, but you're an adult body that just got chopped up and had another adult dead body put inside of you, and there's no recollection of it, and you're also on drugs. So between the pain being excruciating and the drugs um clearly doing what they're doing, and then you not knowing like that you exist till a couple seconds go by and start, oh, okay, I got put under the knife. Like there's a reason why they strap some people down at the doctors, you know? So I'm pretty sure I was strapped down.
Oh, wow. So was that a fight related injury? Was it in training that it occurred before the fight?
I injured my ACL when I was 17 years old. I ripped it in half in the state championship. Continued to play it and got defensive player of the game, and I tore that ACL in the first quarter. So I lived with a fully torn ACL from 17 to 28 years old, and that's just one career-ending injury.
That's just one career ending injury that you've overcome. So how many would you say? And I guess which one is the most, I guess, which one was the hardest to overcome?
Well, I'll just tell you the injuries. When I was 15 years old, I got bent in half this way, and I remember I was like paralyzed for a good 5 seconds, and it sounded like celery snapping in my back. And then as I got older, the pain would get worse and worse and worse. And then one day I couldn't lift my head after I was training at Dan Henderson's gym, and I was rolling around with Sam Alvey. I picked his big self up, and he just pushed my head down. We were just playing around before training, and I couldn't lift my head up anymore. And I had very, very bad pain in my middle of my back. The doctor did an X-ray and MRI, and they're like, "This is an old compression fracture." You could see the heat. The ribs still didn't heal. Like I think like three of the ribs didn't fuse properly to the spine. And he's like, "What you're experiencing right now is the herniated disc from that. Like when you have a compression fracture, you're most likely gonna have a herniated disc, but you aggravated it, and now the disc is popping out." I'm like, "That's great." So when I was 4 years old, I was hit by a car, drunk driver. They got away with it, and I dislocated my hip. So my right hip is almost 3 inches higher than my left hip. Um, Tore my ACL, MCL, meniscus, almost tore everything in my right knee, left knee. I don't even want to talk about. I pretend like that's the good one because it's the better one, but it's not a good one still. Um, I shattered this wrist, and I pinched the radial nerve, and the radial nerve runs through your. The radial nerve runs from your thumb up your wrist, through your forearm, up your bicep, into your shoulder, into your neck, and then into the same fucking area where I have a back break. So the nerve that I pinched in my wrist when I shattered my wrist is the same nerve that runs into my broken back and herniated disc. So those two were just like battling on who could torture me the most throughout my whole life from 15 years old. So when I got the nerves removed here in Newport Beach, which I think Connor's over there, I got the first person that I said, the first doctor I went to, I said, it's nerve damage. And they're like, well, we need to see a neurologist. I'm like, that's fine, whatever, but it's definitely nerve damage. I've dealt with it for 16 years. And if somebody just touches my wrist, I shoot pain up into my neck. So basically, long story short, they operated on the completely wrong side of the wrist, took away the nerves over there. And the whole time I was looking at him, I was like, you muted me.
No, you're unfortunately starting to break up. We're getting that kind of sound. So I muted you quickly for a second, hoping that when we unmuted you, it would come back fully correct. But at this point, it's not. If
One
you
second.
have a second, I'm gonna remove you, and if you're able to come back into the chat, maybe that'll work.
Yeah, I'll come.
We got Cody Vidal on Knuckle Maniac. I don't want to lose this interview because I feel this is all incredibly important information to get out about his story, about the fighter who is ascending through the BKFC light heavyweight rankings. We had him disconnect real quick. Our main event guest talking about overcoming a litany of injuries, a hypnotist who, I'll tell you guys, the power of this man's mind and the power of his ability to overcome career threatening injuries, not just adversity in the ring, but what he's overcome. I'm enthralled by this story and hoping that Cody Vidal will be able to rejoin us real quick. We've met the Knuckle Maniac. Now we're meeting the man behind the fighter, an impressive specimen, someone that has violence, tenacity, ingenuity, and a power of self-belief that only few people possess. We're hoping that Cody will be able to get back in here in a second. I'm not sure why 20 minutes into the conversation, we unfortunately started to have that audio disruption and I couldn't hear him. Quickly tried to mute him. Hopefully, maybe that would reset things. But at this point, we're hoping that we can get the Knuckle Maniac back in here. I'm actually going to send him another invite real quick. Would like to finish up this conversation. It might even go a couple minutes longer. Let's see if we can get him back in here. I'm going to send a second invitation real quick. We haven't even got the opportunity yet to touch on his upcoming fight, August 21st. Everybody going to be back in the BKFC at Mohegan Sun. See if we can add him back into the conversation. Are you there, sir?
Let's
Oh,
do it
no.
again.
Yeah, unfortunately, we still have the audio disruption.
Why?
I don't know what happened all of a sudden. That's weird as we were going good for a good 20 minutes there.
The devil fucks with me all the time.
Unfortunately,
Technology.
Unfortunately, I don't think this interview is going to be able to continue. But Cody Vidal, just know, open invitation. Appreciate you coming on. Loved hearing the story. I love to hear more about it and even talk to you about the upcoming fight, August 21st. But apparently this audio disruption isn't going to allow us to continue. Truly appreciate you coming on tonight.
Hey, man. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a fucking audio disruption. And, you know, not everybody can get their favorite fighter on a podcast. So if anybody has a problem with this, I got 2 words for you. Knuckle up!
August 21st, we can actually hear you a little bit better right now. Do you see the championship on the other side of one more victory, August 21st?
Oh, if you want to see a championship, tune in that day. And that's all I got to say. Because I know the very next play.
Joseph Greer likes to use his length. He likes to control distance. He wants to try to make it a lower pace fight. We know there's no lower pace to the Knuckle Maniac. What do you think this bout looks like?
Respectfully, victory for the Knuckle Maniac. Your favorite fighter's favorite fighter.
You know what? The audio disruption is actually kind of clearing up a little bit. Our favorite fighter's favorite fighter. The BKFC even has the most hated man in combat sports. The characters are starting to build around the promotion. And Cody Vidal, just not a character, but someone that is tried and true and proven the power of the mind. I need to know, when did you start to look into hypnosis and taking your life in that direction and using your power of your mind to be a public speaker?
When I was 30 years old, I did hypnotherapy. It got rid of my anxiety and my depression.
At 3 years old.
30.
Oh, at 30. Okay. Thought that
If I
came
was-
out wrong.
I might have been depressed and anxious at 3 years old. Yeah.
What was the process of the discovery to learn how to be able to do such a deep mental tactic on yourself?
It was do or die. You know, it was if I continue thinking these thoughts, I'll continue feeling these emotions. I'll continue feeling these emotions. I'll continue doing these actions. If I continue doing these actions, I'll continue creating this reality. And if I continue creating this reality, there ain't going to be a reality.
Glad to see that you created this reality and that we are living in the reality of a knuckle maniac on the cusp of a light heavyweight title shot, a guy that endless energy and a lot of positivity that you bring to this sport in a way that I think it's much needed.
Yeah, man. And you asked me earlier about August 21st. All I got to tell you is we're going to have a special guest in the crowd, and he has 3 championship belts. And he said that the Knuckle Maniac is his favorite fighter.
If the distortion was breaking up too much for you guys, the Knuckle Maniac just said that one of his biggest fans, a 3-belt holder, will be in attendance August 21st. We're talking about Lorenzo Hunt. Hopefully we can see a juggernaut and a Knuckle Maniac share a squared circle. I think that'd be an incredible fight, sir. And I truly, again, appreciate you for taking the time this evening to join my fight show.
You're very welcome, brother. Thanks for having me. And if anybody's interested in the power of hypnotherapy, if anybody's interested in just becoming the best person you can be, start with Christ Yeshua HaMashiach. It's, yeah, hypnotherapy is very, very powerful. It's literally how you program your mind in any way. And yeah, I could say so much more about it, but we're here talking about fighting, and we're here talking about August 21st against Joseph Greer. I take the fight just like I take any other fight. It's kill or be killed, it's do or die, it's eat or be eaten, and I'm always hungry. Even when I'm full, I'm always hungry. You know why?
Because that's the bottom line.
Doesn't matter why. Jabroni.
The Knuckle Maniac is a character. We appreciate Cody Vidal. You have a great night, sir. Too sweet. And that's for life. Apologize, guys, about the audio disruption there at the end. Not sure why everything is freaking out at the last moment. But heck, I had a lot of fun tonight. I appreciate all of you guys tuning in. I hope you enjoyed a closer look at Cody Vidal. Thanks to Robbie Ray Images, photos, videos, expanding your media presence, helping us get a closer look inside of these fight camps. For a cleaner cut, you go to Barber Gabe's Fades, Barber Gabe in action, APFC 25, August 30th, Stat Card, Jalen Fuller, the gentleman, our first guest on the night version of the Cage Minds Fight Hour. Don't forget, Saturday nights, 8 to 9 o'clock here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, across social media, YouTube and Apple Podcasts, just like this show, just hours afterwards. This week, who knows who's going to be our guest on the Cage Minds Fight Hour. Tune into ESPN Radio 1017 The Team this Saturday night to hear it first, to hear it live. Saturday nights are fight night, and it's where combat sports lives. CageMinds.com, the website. We have a lot going on. We have some promos up. We got articles from Power Slap to Bare Knuckle to PFL, UFC. Results are up. A lot going on. A busy combat sports community here in Albuquerque, across the world. Huge shout out to O'Ruin Guhrke. A huge shout out to Alex Solis. And we definitely appreciate all the attempts and efforts made for that final interview. Our main event guest, Cody Vidal, Cage Minds _CSN on our social media. Go give it a like, share some content. It all helps. Play a couple videos. We appreciate everyone for watching. Enjoy the entertainment. Keep fighting. Have a good night. And we'll see you at the fights.